Hello, this is Dr. John Guyman here with Gateway to Wellness, and we're here with Alex Parnell, a local therapist here in our area, to talk with us today and give us some good tips here. And so, Alex, introduce yourself and tell us kind of why you do what you do.
I am a local therapist, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I work with couples and families and individuals. I do what I do because I've seen for myself and others the impact of not having someone to care about and tend to your emotional world. I know what it's like to not feel alone, and also I've seen the effects of what it can be like to go, oh, someone gets it, someone gets me. So that's why I do it.
That makes sense there. So let me kind of ask you, especially right now, we're kind of going through a pretty stressful time for a lot of people here, kind of country world-wise even, getting through COVID-19. And so with that, stress is kind of, we have all the regular ones plus a lot of other stuff added in. And so one of the things I always put, we sometimes have to take care of ourselves so we can help people and all the other stuff that's going on. So what are some ways for ourselves to cope with stress, especially during these high times of stress?
Yeah, the first and foremost would be setting aside the time for yourself. If you can find, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, no matter how much time you have, if you can set aside time for yourself to be with yourself and take care of yourself, then that's going to be really helpful. And my initial tips, first place to start is always actually with what's physical and what's tangible. If you can help your body to feel good, then that's going to help your mind to feel good as well.
That's true. That's one of the things that I figured out kind of a few years ago. I end up now to where I have 3 kids, so a busy family and everything like that. But so I make sure to carve for myself out time every single morning where I wake up really early and go out for either a walk or a run each morning to kind of have that time and then kind of do a few things. Because I know for myself anyways, if I put those things first, then the whole rest of the day goes a whole lot better no matter what stresses are coming at me. So that's
Yeah,
a huge part.
it's amazing how when we're actually physically flexible, it helps us to be flexible in life as well.
Very, very true. So with this kind of too, kind of everything going on, um, one of the things, especially as parents having to deal with, is a lot kind of the different changes happening on their kids, whether it's their teenagers that are being more kept isolated away from their friends. There's a lot of other stressors out there right now. So as parents, how can we help our children, kind of our either teenagers or younger kids, kind of cope with all the different changes coming at them?
Yeah, I'm excited to share with everyone some recent research that's come out. Um, what's being shown is that parents who are covering up the fact that they're struggling, their children are experiencing worse outcomes than the parents who are being honest
Mm-hmm.
and open about the fact that it's hard. And so this goes back to the self-care thing, is if you're able to take care of yourself and then able to share openly with, hey, today or just this year is very hard for mom, it's very hard for dad, and share a little bit about what you're feeling, without putting it on your children as their responsibility to help you solve it,
Mm-hmm.
but just to be open. Then that shows your kids like, okay, we're in this together. I'm not the only one who is struggling, and I don't have to cover up how I'm feeling since my parents aren't.
I think that's a huge area, kind of that example right there. A lot of well, that shows kind of with all kids. If we have that example of how to show healthy emotion, how to do these things, then we usually do better with ourselves. But yeah, for a lot of us adults, we think we have to protect more on the kids from everything instead of kind of letting them kind of see that we kind of struggle with stuff too and have
Mhm.
to keep on going. So thank you right there. And so with that kind of those kids, but with kind of our family as a whole, kind of especially since this time we've been spending more time together for the last 6 months, probably those walls have been seeming closer and closer together. So what are some things we can do as families to show more compassion and kind of adapt and to help each other throughout this?
Mm-hmm. The first thing that comes to mind is play. For as much as you can, and for much as there's an opportunity to, make sure to keep playing. I know that some families have found certain games or certain things to be able to play together, but then it's kind of like after a while, maybe you get bored of that game and then you switch to something else. My encouragement is to keep on trying out new games, keep on including play in the rhythm of life. Um, and when you have that playful attitude and that playful spirit, it's going to enable you to sustain the connection, the
Mm.
emotional connection, and to be able to have those moments where your kids can feel seen by you and feel heard by you and cared for by you.
Awesome. So especially kind of like you kind of mentioned, all these things, kind of making sure that they know that they exist in your life, that they aren't just something out to the side, that they're an important part and that you are paying attention and that they can kind of voice that, but be able to play and be able to have fun with you and have a great time.
Yes.
Kind of one thing there though too, kind of what are maybe your top 3 things that families can do to strengthen their relationships right now?
I'd say with parents, for if the two of you can enter into each other's world, or whoever you're sharing a responsibility with the kids with, um, spend the time to enter into each other's world, find out how you're doing, and be a listening ear for each other, and then that same idea for the kids as well. Oftentimes parents, we can get this idea that, oh, well, if I think something's fun, or if I think something's interesting, then my kids will too. Um, and yes, that can be a great experience to invite them into that. But I also want to encourage everyone to find out what your kid is interested in that you may not personally be at all,
Mhm.
but spend the time to enter into that world and discover and learn about it and spend time with them there, and that'll go a really long way.
That's probably huge. I know for myself, kind of that generation gap right there. I know that for sure that a lot of the things that I enjoy, they probably aren't into, and kind of vice versa. So yeah, so it's kind of putting down those things and kind of at times going, okay, I'm going to do this because I know it brings you joy and brings you happiness, and then we'll make sure that you have that.
And the one last thing I'd say on that too is something for families to do specifically is for the parents,
Mhm.
do marriage counseling. Even if you're not in a spot where you're thinking we're really suffering or we really need help, some preventative work and some work on maintaining the health and depth of your connection will be really helpful for the family as a whole.
Isn't that true kind of on most things that we do? If we kind of put that time in on the front end, it actually helps us to where most people, whether it's over to you or even to us in our office, most people come when they're in crisis. And so if they do a little bit on the front end, they can prevent that crisis from happening and be able to enjoy the things they love to do a lot more.
Yes.
So that's great advice right there on that. And so Alex, tell us how people, if they want to do a little more work with you and do counseling or anything, or if they have any questions, how can they get a hold of you?
I'd say go to alexparnell.com, and you can see on there how to schedule a free 20-minute phone call, even if it's about scheduling to become a client or to just ask a question. I'm there.
Awesome. Well, Alex, thank you so much for being on here and for your help here and helping our community here. And
Yeah.
so if you ever have anything you need also, make sure to get a hold of us and we'd be glad to do that.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. And once again, this is Dr. John Guyman here at Gateway to Wellness Chiropractic, and have a great day.